A food-grade pigment can meet its technical specification and still become an import risk if the commercial lot cannot be linked to the approved sample, certificate of analysis, packaging, and intended application. For EU buyers, supplier approval therefore depends on a connected evidence chain, not price, lead time, or certification claims alone. The first check is regulatory fit. The supplier file should identify the product name, grade, color designation, product code, manufacturer, intended application, and destination market. Product-specific declarations must state the framework they address, their revision date, scope, and limitations. Broad phrases such as compliant with international standards are not sufficient without a clear connection to the actual material and use case. Public EU information can provide regulatory context, but the importer must assess the pigment against the finished product, market, and customer requirements. This becomes especially important in replacement projects. The change in the EU authorization position for titanium dioxide as a food additive shows why an alternative pigment cannot be approved through a generic substitution claim. Buyers need to verify the proposed material, its intended function, the food matrix, labeling implications, and supporting evidence. Product development should define whether the formulation must preserve opacity, shade, process stability, or another specific outcome. The second check is batch evidence. Before accepting a first shipment, procurement should compare a lot-specific certificate of analysis with the agreed specification. The certificate should include the batch number, product name, supplier identity, release date, tested parameters, limits, actual results, and units. Analytical controls should reflect the ingredient and its risk profile, potentially covering identity, purity-related criteria, relevant heavy metals, moisture, physical properties, and performance-related parameters. Missing or unusual results require clarification before release. Third, buyers should assess manufacturing control. Quality system documents are useful only when they relate to the stated product and manufacturing site. The file should explain relevant segregation and contamination controls rather than relying on certificates whose scope cannot be connected to the pigment being purchased. The fourth check is traceability. The supplier must be able to connect raw materials, production records, the commercial lot, the certificate of analysis, and shipment documents. The same lot identifier should appear clearly on documents and packaging, then remain visible through the buyer's warehouse and production systems. Change control should also define which changes require advance notice, including raw material source, manufacturing site, test method, specification, product code, and primary packaging. The fifth check is logistics readiness. Inner packaging, seals, labels, moisture protection, pallet condition, and transport documents all help establish that the delivered pigment remains identifiable, protected, and comparable with the material originally evaluated. Packaging is part of material control, not an administrative afterthought. These 5 checks support 2 separate approval gates. Gate 1 is supplier and product qualification, completed before the purchase order. Procurement reviews product information, market requirements, certificates, sample batch documents, manufacturing controls, traceability, and change notification procedures. The decision should be recorded as approved, conditionally approved pending further evidence or testing, or rejected. A technical sample should be requested for a defined formulation or application. It should carry a product code and lot identity and be supported by the same type of documentation expected with a commercial order. This allows technical performance and document quality to be assessed together. Gate 2 is commercial lot and shipment release. Before dispatch or a controlled receipt, the team verifies that the product code, lot number, certificate of analysis, package labels, quantity, packing list, and shipping records match the approval file. Any difference requires explanation and a documented decision. The team should also confirm whether changes occurred after sample approval and record package condition at receipt. A concise, connected file is more valuable than a large collection of unrelated certificates. The essential records are a current specification, lot-specific certificate of analysis, product-specific market and use declaration, agreed analytical evidence, traceability and change control statement, and sufficient packing and transport information. Together, they show not merely that a supplier appears qualified, but that the exact commercial lot can be justified, received, and released with evidence that remains verifiable later.